Yesterday, President Trump fired his Attorney General, Jeff Sessions. But before he left, he got to give his loyal subjects one final goodbye.
With tears in his eyes, Jeff Sessions waving goodbye at a Justice Department send-off, shaking hands with the man replacing him, just hours after the Attorney General was fired by President Trump.
And that was it. After that ceremony, Jeff Sessions hopped on a sleigh back to the North Pole, where he will only have 7 weeks to finish making all of those toys. Yeah. Got to make all those toys for all those kids he put in cages. But since Sessions is gone, too soon? Since Sessions is gone, let's focus on the man who's replacing him in another installment of Profiles in Tremendousness.
I have the most dedicated people. I have the best people.
Meet Matt Whitaker, acting Attorney General and rarely jacked Humpty Dumpty. He was a tight end for the University of Iowa, a U.S. attorney for 5 years, and a failed Senate candidate in 2014. And in his spare time, he's an amateur power lifter. Look at that guy. Look at that. Guy's got police tape around him. That's confidence right there. He's like, you're gonna want to tape this off because I'm about to murder these weights. Yeah! Matt Whitaker basically seems like the exact opposite of Jeff Sessions. I mean, like, Sessions also posted a photo of himself powerlifting, but it wasn't as impressive. That's what I'm saying. Look, I mean, we got to get all our short jokes in now. It's now or never. They're done. Now, apart from being a former U.S. attorney and looking like Bane during the off-season, there is one other thing about Whitaker that probably makes him the perfect pick for President Trump. He shares a similar passion for business ethics.
Matt Whitaker, the now acting Attorney General after Jeff Sessions was fired, he is now linked to a company referred to as a scam.
World Patent Marketing billed itself as helping investors secure patents, and Whitaker was hands-on.
It's a unique design that's going to help.
Showcasing a hot tub invention in this post from the company, a company that has since been shut down and slapped with a $26 million fine by federal authorities.
How's America going to hire a guy who scams hot tub inventors as its top cop? Because that seems like a real conflict of interest to me. Like, he'll be interrogating bad guys like, tell me who your partner is, and be like, you were my partner. Yeah, we had a good run, didn't we? Now, if you think Whitaker looks familiar, you either just cleaned your bathroom, or, like the president, you've been watching a shit ton of CNN. Because every chance that Whitaker got, he was on the news saying this.
He needs to step in and pull the reins back on Bob Mueller if he starts to go outside of those bounds of his delegation of authority. I think we should watch for Bob Mueller if he's really going to go down these paths of unrelated financial transactions. The only difference between Watergate and this situation is actually Watergate, there were crimes that occurred, and right now we have no evidence of any crime happening.
So the guy who's now in charge of the Mueller investigation was on CNN over a dozen times shit-talking Mueller and his investigation. That is so unfair to Robert Mueller. The guy was trash-talking him, and now that guy is his boss. And I know how much that sucks, because when I was in school, there was a kid who bullied me every single day, and then one day I got home, and he was my stepdad. But it turns out it wasn't just a coincidence that Whitaker was on TV trashing Mueller, right? It was actually his latest scam.
We know Matt Whitaker here. We had him on the show a number of times. This is from attorney John Q. Barrett about a conversation he says that he had in the green room before their joint appearance. Okay, he says, Whitaker told me in June of 2017 that he was flying out from Iowa to NYC to be on CNN regularly because he was hoping to be noticed as a Trump defender and through that to get a Trump judicial appointment back in Iowa.
That is so devious and so impressive. He knew that Trump spends all day watching CNN, so he wasn't just trash-talking Mueller for no reason, right? He was trying to lure the president in. So basically, Whitaker was on CNN laying thirst traps for Trump. And it worked, because Trump slid in the DMs like, I'm DTF, down to fire Sessions. But Whitaker's plan to get Trump's attention on TV worked even better than he expected, because all he wanted was to be a judge in Iowa. And now he's the acting Attorney General. That's like applying to be a cashier at Ross Dress for Less, and then they're like, forget cashier, you're Ross! So, that's Matt Whitaker, the man who's taking Jeff Sessions' job. But don't feel too bad for Jeff Sessions. I'm sure someone will offer him a job on cable news. It's just going to be strange when Trump sees him on TV and he's like, I like that guy! He should be my Attorney General! For more on Jeff Sessions getting fired, we turn now to our very own Dulcé Sloan, everybody, joining us in the studio. Dulcé, Sessions is the 15th high-profile firing of the Trump presidency. Like, why do you think that Trump is firing so many people from his administration?
Because he can get away with it. Every time Trump fires one of these bitch asses, they smile and nod and then they crawl away. Scaramucci was up there crying. Sean Spencer went back to wherever his chin was. And did you see Jeff Sessions? He was shaking hands with the man who took his job. If I had to shake hands with the person who took my job, you would have to find another person to take my job. And that person's gonna need to find a new hand. In fact, the only person who left with dignity is Omarosa.
Whoa, what are you talking about? Apparently, Omarosa got dragged out of the White House kicking and screaming.
Exactly. And it worked. Trump hasn't fired a black woman since.
I don't think...
Thank you.
I don't think Trump has hired a black woman since.
That's not my point, okay? My point is you teach people how to treat you. I remember the last time I got fired, I was laying hands like it was Sunday morning, okay? I told them, if I'm not making money, y'all not making money. That's why there's no more Circuit City.
Wow, I'm not gonna lie, I wish I had known all of this before I hired you.
Oh no, that's not gonna happen unless you fire me. And since you're not gonna do that, there's nothing to worry about. Is there?
No, of course not. Let's move on. So, if I hear you right, what you're saying is the White House officials should make a scene whenever they get fired to make Trump think twice before firing anyone.
Yeah, you're already being escorted out by the Secret Service. You might as well earn it, okay? Tear down the curtains, carve a dick into Trump's desk. Don't just make the news, make history.
Dulcé Sloan, everybody.